Hey guys, welcome to City Bright. So today we are launching our new series called Testimony Tuesday, and in today's video you'll be hearing a powerful testimony from Joseph Moore.
My name's Joseph Moore. I'm from Decap. I've lived in Decap pretty much my whole life. I grew up and I learned about God at an early age thanks to my mother. We were attending a Baptist church, a small church way out in the country, and it's probably approximately 12 members, and they're all family members. But I knew who God was, but I didn't understand the full meaning of the connection with God. I just knew we had to go to church all the time. I was like, the morning service didn't end until like 1:30. I'm like, Mom, what's the deal? I'm hungry, I'm ready to go. But then we have to come back in the evening time. So, I kind of, had it in my mind that when I grew up, I'm not going to church. No way. I've had enough of it. I was always that kid that's, outside, getting into things. I would take my mother's good kitchen knives and throw them at the power line just to see what would happen. I got my first paddling in the first grade because I just couldn't sit still. I was always just like wanting to do things. Soon after that, I started having seizures. Okay, didn't really know why, and the kids that I grew up with, they always knew me as a jokester, and when I had my first seizure, I was curled up in the elementary, and they thought I was joking. Many of them started kicking me, "Get up, Joseph, get up," and once I started, vomiting at the mouth, then they realized that, hey, this is pretty serious. When I transitioned over into high school, I had stopped having seizures about the 8th grade. And the doctor told me that I would grow out of it. They didn't know exactly what was wrong, but they just told me, hey, you're going to grow out of this. And I did. Going into high school, I was always that weird guy, just never was with the popular crowd. I was a band nerd, had a selective few people that I hung out with. Didn't party, didn't hang out with the rest of the cool people, didn't go to prom, could care less about going to prom, didn't want to go to my graduation. So that's how, uninterested I was about, being social. After school, graduated 1995, so a very, very long time ago. I had the plans of going to school for nursing. Already, had an idea. I was going to do an EMT paramedic transition course, and started school at Texarkana College, and started my EMT classes. And at that time, I was still living at home. There came a point where I decided to move away from home. Immediately I found a job, got my first place, was very proud of myself and working hard. It didn't take long after that to realize that, hey, there's a lot of people here and a lot of cool people I can meet. Started drinking, started hanging out in clubs, and shortly after that, lust found me. Okay, what I mean by that is, I really wasn't very experienced in dating or that type of thing. I didn't understand how girls work and all that, but lust found me. During my partying stage, hanging out, drinking, things like that, in 2001, my mother called me. I had my own apartment, very responsible. My mother called me and told me that my best friend, E.T.M. Shavers, was killed in a car accident. And I was like, what? That's not possible. And when I found that out, it kind of hit me hard, and I completely lost it. I gave up on trying. I still worked, but as far as anything else, I could care less. Started partying even harder. Shortly after that, in the club, because I was always in the club, loved to dance, loved to just show out, and loved to try to please people. Um, a childhood friend of mine that I grew up with, that I trusted, was in the club one day, and he told me, he's like, "Hey man, you trust me?" I was like, "Yeah, I trust you. Of course I do. We grew up from babies together." And he said, "Open your mouth." So I opened my mouth, and he put ecstasy in my mouth for the first time. And I can't really explain that feeling, but it enhanced what I was doing, the partying, all of the lust, all of the the horrible things that were going on in my life. It just kind of, just really just boosted it. Got to a point where, I wanted to do it all the time. That was my main focus. And shortly after that, my surroundings started disappearing. Some of them, I started going to jail. Just a lot of different things started happening, and here I was like, oh gosh, I want to stop, and it wasn't, I wasn't exactly addicted to the ecstasy or the drugs. It was the lust that came with it. That was my addiction, is because, hey, I like to do that. I like girls like me, and I wanted just to completely just be engulfed in that lifestyle. But I wanted to stop. I wanted to change. So I met this young lady. I'm still going to the club at that time, and she come in the club, took her shoe off, and if I was dancing with another woman, she clubbed that woman across the head, and I was like, oh gosh, this girl really loves me, because I've never had that happen. She really, really cares, and that's what I need, someone to take me out of what I'm doing and take control over my body and take control over my actions. So I ended up marrying that young lady. And one of my close associates at that time, he's like, are you sure? Y'all just fight all the time. It was turmoil. It was toxic. It was a very toxic relationship. That relationship wasn't built on love. It was just built on things that really didn't matter. But I stayed in it because I believe that, once you get married, you don't get divorced. You make it work by any means. Well, just fast forward a little bit. There were some other things going on with her family that I wasn't accepted, okay, due to my skin color. And when I say that, our holidays, she did holidays with her family. I did holidays with my family, so it wasn't a togetherness. I gotta rewind just a little bit because I did leave out a part. Now, right before she and I met, during the time that I was going through my lustful behavior, I had a child with a woman that I didn't even date. Just really, at the time when she was pregnant, didn't acknowledge that, hey, this is my child, a child's fixing to be born, but on July the 21st, 2002, I called my mother, and I was like, hey mom, hey, there's this girl at the hospital, and she's saying she's having my baby. It could be mine, it could not be mine, I don't really know, so I think you need to come up here. So my mom's like, what? Are you serious? But my mom, being the mom that she is, she came to the hospital, and she went into labor and delivery, and she looked at this baby, and she's like, yeah, that's your baby. That is your baby. So I was like, wow, and that was one of the key things that really made me want to change the lifestyle that I was living. Well, fast forward again, back into the relationship, the marriage that I had. I was working hard, trying to do everything right, trying to provide for my family, go to church, We started going to the Lutheran church, and unfortunately her parents stopped going because we were attending that. Made a lot of wonderful friends, a lot of good relationships with those people, and really cherished it. But our relationship at home was still horrible. I mean, it was just so toxic. We went through counseling, went through marital counseling and spiritual counseling, and the pastor at that time, he's like, "Oh my gosh," he was in shock, but we stuck in there. We kept it going. Finally, I was only the main breadwinner in the house, and I decided, I wasn't making enough money. It was hard, so I started picking up odd and end jobs on the weekend. At this time, I'm working at FedEx, delivering packages. 2010 or 11, we got into it real bad, and I was arrested for domestic violence. That hit me hard. I had one-on-one time with God, and something just really kind of set in, like, hey, you know what? Things will have to change. Something's gonna have to change. So once I went to court, they ordered that I stay away from my own house that I had purchased, so I was ordered to pay the house payment and child support, and so with me working, I was like, oh gosh, that leaves me with no money. So that's when I decided, hey, you know what? I got a tent I've just been waiting to use. So that was the cheapest way I could do it, and I lived out at the lake. It didn't cost hardly anything to live there. That's when I decided, hey, you know what? I can't afford rent. I'm just gonna have to make this work. I decided to join the gym. Main reason is because they had showers. I worked 6 days a week, and I was able to save up enough money to buy this old, rundown 1970 something camper. Wasn't much about it, but hey, it was better than the tent. So I bought it off this guy, and I think it was like $700. When I bought it, I didn't have a way to move it. It was still in the guy's yard, and I was like, dude, I don't have a way to move it. Can I stay in your yard? And just, and he let me. He was nice enough to let me stay in his yard. I had no electricity at that time. I had nothing, no water in that camper, but hey, it was a shell and it was protection. So I bundled up in coats when it was real cold, and just made it work. Found a place that charged $110 for electric and water together. And it was the old trailer park, and I was like, yes, this is gonna work. Didn't have much of anything. Didn't have an oven. The ceiling leaked, but it was home. So what I did in the meanwhile is I had a big blue bucket, and I hooked up to the water hose outside, and that's how I would shower. Now, if I was going somewhere fancy, I would go to the gym and I would shower, just get real dolled up. But I would shower in that bucket. And if it was cold, I had this griddle that I had a 10-gallon pot that I would heat my water up. And I would just kind of pour it on me a little bit at a time, and just, do the best I could. For some odd reason, lust always came looking for me. Even though at this time, I wasn't going out, I wasn't partying, but they found me. Well, one of the ladies from my past came in the picture because I decided that I wanted to join Facebook. Big mistake. And she inboxed me, hey, what are you doing? I hadn't seen you in forever. And so she's like, hey, you want to go do something? I'm like, nope, absolutely not. I'm focusing on me. I'm trying to get my stuff together. Nope. And anyway, she was very persistent, and I ended up going out with her, going out on a date, and told her, hey, look, I'm not looking for a relationship. I don't want to date. I don't want anything like that. But unfortunately, Les said, nah, bro, you want this. So, make a long story short out of that, swore up and down that, hey, I didn't want a relationship, but we ended up getting married. And this was after my divorce, of course, everything final, and still dealing with the chaos of an ex-wife and things like that. And we got married, and wrong reasons once again. Someone from my past was in my past for a reason. She wasn't supposed to be in my present, but she was. I started going to church with her. At the time, she's a non-believer. Didn't really know anything about God, so I'm still trying to figure out, how can I get a better relationship with God at that time. And decided, hey, you know what? 2014, it's time to get back to where I come from. Decided to come back to Decap. My mom had a rent house here, and she's like, it's been empty for 2 years. Yeah, you can stay there. Go ahead. So I brought this young lady. She had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Brought her to Decap. And the first thing that happened when I come to Decap, I wanted a church home. So the first one we came to visit was Marital. And my mom and she knew people, and I didn't know anyone. And I was like, because when I left, which was 18, 19 years ago, the people at Marital, they were little bitty babies. I didn't know them then. So when I come back, she, spoke to everyone, and I was like, this is different. This is real different. And, I was like, I'll keep this in mind. So I was like, well, I guess I have to go back to Mom's church, because it's what I know, and I'm not sure about that Marital thing. It's kind of different, very different, but everyone is nice. And I saw several people outside of Marital, and they were super nice, but I was just like, I don't know. That's just, I'm not used to that. And, but anyway, so during the process of going to my mom's church, my second ex-wife was a functioning alcoholic. I didn't want that. But I hung in there because I'm like, this is my second go around. I've got to make this work. And it got to the point to where she would get so drunk, she would disappear, gone. Well, first couple times it happened, she would come back, oh, I'm so sorry, I need to change, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's make this work. But it got to a point where it's like, the last time she disappeared, I was like, so where were you? She's like, I don't know. I got so drunk, I blacked out. And I was like, so I decided to divorce her. I was like, look, you know what? I'm done. I want this relationship with God so bad. I just need to be by myself. So I divorced her. Got focused in on the gym. Really felt at that time like, dude, I'm just not worthy. I felt like I'm just a piece of dirt right now. I've been through all of this. I want God, but it's like God don't want me. During that time, working out at the gym, I remember reading the scripture. What is Romans 12:2? I do not conform to the ways of the world, but the renewing of your mind. I'm not saying exactly right, but I remember hearing the scripture and I was like, what is that supposed to mean? But it just really stuck. So, I was dead set. All right, cool. I'm blocking out the world. I'm focusing on the Bible. I'm going to read this Bible. I'm going to try to figure this out. I want this relationship with God. If anybody comes in the picture, nope, not at all. So during that time, I was in the gym. This young lady here, she comes walking up to me. Hey, don't I know you? Nope, you don't. You sure don't. I'm not from here. I don't want you to know me. You don't know me. Point blank, period. No. And left it at that. And I was very rude like that when I said that. Well, she ended up inboxing me on Facebook. Hey, I knew you. Hey, I have this friend that I want you to meet. And I'm like, no. I've been through a lot. I don't want a relationship. I want a relationship with God. I got a lot of things that I want to get right. And make up time and try to get right with God. well, just send her a friend request. And I'm like, no way. So she gave me her name. I waited a few weeks. I don't have any friends at this point. So I was like, all right, I'll send her a friend request. So Facebook, sent a friend request. 10 minutes later, she didn't accept it. So I was like, take my friend request back, you know? And then she inboxed me a few minutes later after that. Hey, why'd you take your friend request back? And I was like, well, if you knew I sent you one, why didn't you accept it? You know? Well, anyway, and she was like, she's real adamant. She's like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm not looking to date you or anything like that. My friend told me about you. She's like, I just wanted to just let you know that I've been in a horrible relationship, very abusive relationship. I was like, well, good, because, you know, I'm not trying to date anyone anyway. I've been through too much. During our friendship, we were like, she was like, hey, you want to go to church sometime? I was like, yeah, sure. You know, where you go to church at, you know? And she's like, well, I go to Marital. I was like, yeah, I visited there when I first came back to Decap, and it's kind of weird, you know? And she's like, yeah, I'll go there. Just, you know, want to go check it out? And I was like, sure, let's go. So we went, and I was like, you know, this is cool. This is really cool. Everyone was nice, still friendly, and they still spoke to me outside of the church door. So I was like, yeah, that's cool, you know? And next time, we started going more often. Just kept going. And before long, I was like, we're in a relationship, aren't we? She's like, I don't know. I think we kind of are. And we just kept going, kept coming to Marital, and we really enjoyed the atmosphere, enjoyed everything about it. You know, we were in a relationship. We realized that God had a purpose for both of us. We never met before for a reason. I knew her whole family, known them all my life. You know, she knew who my parents were, but we never knew each other. But yeah, God brought us together at the right point. And it wasn't all the stuff that I was used to before. It wasn't because of lust. It wasn't because, hey, we were partying together. It was because we had a purpose, you know. And even though I don't understand why we came together, God knows exactly, you know, why we were supposed to be together at that time. Why she had to go through the things that she went through, the abuse, the cheating, just all of the bad things, and why I had to go through what I went through. At that time, I still really felt just dirty and just like, ugh, you know, I'm not worthy to even be around these people, you know. And but I kept going, and one day they had the auditions, and Regina had heard me kind of sing, and she's like, hey, you should try out for that. And I was like, I don't know, you know, but sure, I'll do it. And I tried out, and got a call from Chris, and he said, hey, got good news, you made the team. You know, I was like, that's weird. Yeah. And the cool thing about it is, I grew up in church in the choir as a little church boy. I hated singing. I hated it. And everybody's like, oh, your voice is so good. You were so good and cute, you know? And I was like, you know, just terrified of singing and just really didn't like it at all. But I realized when Marital accepted me on their team that God's purpose is bigger than what you think. Your voice is supposed to be used for something greater. You need to use it. You hadn't used it in all these years. And that's when I really just kind of, you know, just really wanted to dive in. So I got, Regina actually got me the Experiencing God book. So I read through it, and I don't know, it was like a whole new transformation. Something new just happened, something fresh that I've never even experienced. And when I read, The first, lean not on my own, trusting God with all my heart, lean not on my own understanding, submit to Him in all ways, and He'll make your path straight. And I was like, oh my gosh, submit to Him. I've never submitted to God. That's why I don't have the relationship that I want with. So I decided, God, you know what? I'm all yours. I am all yours. You have been with me through thick and thin. The bad times, you were with me. It's time for me to just completely give in to you and let you lead me. So I did. And that's when I would worship here and there. It wasn't every Sunday, and it just really just transformed my life. God just really took control. I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago. And Regina can honestly tell you this, and she would tell you this. I was mad at myself. I was mad at the world. I was mad at the actions that I had taken before. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I realized that, my time here on this earth, it's not for me. I am a vessel. I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to whatever God wants me to do. It's His plan. This isn't about me. It's just, as much as I want it to be before, that's why when I tried to make it a change in my life, I couldn't. Because it wasn't for me to change. God already had His hands in it. He just wanted me to acknowledge Him. And I realized that. And ever since, it's been a wonderful ride, and I'm loving every bit of it. I have so much passion for God, more than I've ever had in my life. And His grace saved me. He was always there with me. I just had to acknowledge Him and just take my hands off the wheel and let Him drive. So that's my story. What I would want to say is, whatever you're going through, don't do it by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. Lean into God. Completely give in to God and let Him lead your path. It doesn't matter what happened, what decisions that you made, how broken that you may feel. It does not matter at all. He will fix it. He's already fixed it. You already have victory. He's already given you victory when He died for your sins. So there's nothing that you've done that can really possibly not be good enough for His glory.
What an incredible testimony of God's grace and faithfulness, that no matter where we are, He's always there, that His love covers everything. I hope you enjoyed this Testimony Tuesday. We'll see you in the next video.